Almost 6:30 on this Friday, June 24th. What an intro, anyway. Um, yeah, I'm slowly kind of running out of time to try and get this run done, but I have made a lot of adjustments since my initial, videos, I guess. So, just in case I can't get this done probably by either this or next weekend, I'll have this as a way to memorialize what I've been doing, just in case I want to come back and try it again later. I'll have this as a reference, and for anyone else who may want to tackle this, right? I will say, after all my time spending with this particular run, it's been rather interesting, to say the least. I think I'm starting to plateau on the enjoyment of it. I've definitely appreciated the observations it's given me and how I've had to problem solve a lot of problematic areas and reapproach the game in ways I never even thought about until trying to do this and routing it. But yeah, if I can't get it within this week, I'll probably, well, I won't even have time, but even so, yeah. So anyway, just gonna do a screen recording here just in case I end up getting it, because I'm just gonna focus on explaining each part of the split as I do it right now. And so let me just start this here. Okay. Alright, so right off the bat, bye-bye. Gosh, I feel so mean chucking pawns over, but that's the only way here. And then with our own pawn too. I wish we could dismiss our own pawns in the rift. I used to do a power leveling split, but that added about 30 extra minutes to the point where on a good day I would get to Escort Hell, which I now call Harpy Hell because those damn harpies. And yeah, it was getting to be a bit too much. I just didn't have the resolve to keep resetting over and over again while power leveling. Alright, so I moved this guy out here. Just so that he doesn't get in the way. Because if he's in the room when I lure the snow harpies in here, depending on what he does, he can attract one of them inside. And that's a bit problematic. And so I just chuck him outside to avoid that altogether. Nice. Normally they're not there, but sometimes they are. But either way, you want to make sure that you jump down to that platform, because if you stay up here, you could kill all of the goblins, the snow harpies will still not spawn. This is kind of like their aggro border, if you will. And so by hopping down here, you ensure that they'll spawn after you kill at least 3 hobgoblins. Alright, there they are. And so I'm going to sprint all the way down here. And just wait here. I usually have a timer, and I set it for about 30 seconds. and then I usually wait an additional 10 or 15 seconds depending on what they're doing outside. They almost always try to charge me though when I leave this area, but the good thing is we're on a very light load, so as long as you sprint out of here, you should be fine. And plus the soldier does distract them if he's out there, as opposed to him being in here, because he'll start to come over here sometimes, and then that's when the snow harpies will come inside, if he does that. Alright, it's been about 40 seconds on my timer here. Alright, I'll just sprint out now. Nice. Yeah, and if you see one chasing after you, don't worry, just keep sprinting. The reason I wait in there for about 40 seconds is because if you come out here too early, the gates won't open. And you can imagine how that's a problem with everyone trying to hit you. Ooh, okay. Yeah, anytime you back away from him, you can bait, almost always, the pounce, the kitty pounce attack. And then I'll just go ahead and summarize what counts as a hit and what doesn't after this encounter. Yeah, you want to make sure that you deflect twice. If Kitty Cat here goes for the sleep spell, or the goat technically. Because if you let the goat, well the lion, if you let the chimera go for the pounce attack, while the sleep spell is charging, it's going to hit you as he closes the distance. And so by deflecting twice, you ensure that it'll complete before the distance is closed. Now, I typically don't try to go in for a deflect if I see Ingle, because if the Chimera decides to kind of do that spin around attack where he charges forward and then turns around while the angle is being cast, depending on the angle that he moves at, it could hit you as you're trying to jump away from it. So I typically just let the angle get casted before trying to go in. But in that case, it was fine. But if you want to be safe, I would just say create distance if you see an angle. All the other spells are fine. I'm gonna predict he's gonna go for his char— oh no, never mind. Maybe he won't go for it this time. Ooh. doubt it. It's very rare when I don't deal with at least one cycle of his temper tantrum. Oh, you tried it? Wow. Well, alright. In the event, you have to deal with that kind of, I guess, berserk mode he goes into where he starts pouncing all over the arena. As long as you just sprint perpendicular to his trajectory, you'll be fine, and then you just keep turning the camera. Oh wait, that's my pawn's name, not my name. I'm already thinking ahead. Okay, hold on. No. I'm gonna go for the last character because carry weight is better, and so is my jog speed. Both of which are very good to maximize. Alright, so things that count as a hit. I use the Dark Souls no-hit streams that I've watched over the years to formulate my rules for this, and then I have to adapt, of course, to Dragon's Dogma, because this is not a Dark Souls game. And so things that qualify as a hit are normal blocks, staggers that are sourced from enemies, so even if they hit an explosive barrel, if you stagger from the explosion that they triggered, even if it doesn't inflict damage on you, it's still a stagger. But if you throw an explosive barrel, right, since you're the one who threw it, it was sourced from you and not a hostile enemy, that stagger doesn't count. If you decide to climb onto an enemy, that's fine, but if they try to shake you off and your stamina is depleted and you are physically staggered by it, that still counts as a stagger because it's trying to shake you off, and you have to you have to readjust your grip on the enemy, so that counts as a climbing stagger, I suppose. And so that's why I just don't try to climb enemies. And then the stupid Harpy songs and the spells that have an AoE to them. So Silentium and any of the other debilitating spells that have a cloud aura around them, if they collide with your character and it makes your character's model shake, that counts as a hit. And so you can imagine how frustrating it can be to deal with the Harpies. And even after all the experimentations I've done to try and isolate them one by one, I can do the exact same thing. And sometimes I just end up attracting more than one. And if that happens, I just back away as much as I can. Because you do not want to deal with more than one Harpy at a time. That's just way too much RNG. You can get lucky and be aggressive and kill a group of Harpies without taking a hit, but you're really risking it, and it's just not worth it. It's not a consistent strategy to just go in with bloodlust in your eyes and try to take on a group of Harpies. It's not going to work out most of the time. And if it does, it's dumb luck. And so, yeah, actually, I'm just gonna carry 130.
You look well, Tay.
And how many throw blasts did I get? I'll get 10 more. This is what I used to do when I was still power leveling. But since I can't be bothered trying to spend an additional 30 minutes for that, I will not be doing it that way. Although I don't really need it right now. I'll just carry 10 and I'll make sure I have 20 by the time I go back to the encampment. Okay, Rook, let's go for some swimming lessons. I don't keep track of exactly how many throw blasts I need for an area, and so the number I choose is arbitrary a lot of the time. Mainly it's just my OCD about having multiples of 5 or an even number of something. Really, that's what it comes down to. I always like to carry more than I need, just in case I whiff a throw or something. I don't want to be stressing about running out of stuff.
Beast!
Part of me wishes that I could utilize more of my weapon skills as fighter, which I could if I really wanted to, but the whole reason I took out the power leveling, one, it's really not necessary. I initially did it just to have more stamina, more than anything, but I'm already taking mushrooms to compensate the stamina regeneration during sprinting sections, so it's really not needed. There's really no additional benefit to me aside from the stamina pool, which was nice when I would, you know, use my weapon skills against groups of enemies, being able to use more of them. But oh well. If I ever try to formally go with a Strider run, then that's where I'll probably utilize the weapon skills for that vocation more often. I was kind of testing the waters with it a few days ago, and it seemed pretty fun. But as a melee fighter here, I'll just make it as quick as possible. But you can definitely use more of your weapon skills if you want. But, you know, clearly throw blasts speed up a lot of things. But don't be fooled. You still need to have precise positioning and routing and timing a lot of the time here with these splits. It's not just, oh, la 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 la, I'm using throw blasts, easy peasy. No. Absolutely not. Well, especially with the dated AI, the pathing of these enemies is really inconsistent, and so trying to consistently get them to take a specific path is incredibly taxing. And that's been the biggest challenge for me. Not so much executing the battle mechanics with the weapon skills, and the few times I get to use the weapon skills, but just having the patience to recognize which scenario I'm given, and then just kind of ensure that I don't go too quickly, or that I don't misplace something, or so on and so forth. It's a lot of scrutiny, and I'm not really used to having scrutiny in my gameplay. I just kind of go for it. And I mean, I keep a constant eye on the battlefield, but this one is more paranoia than anything, really. Whereas before, harpies really didn't cross my mind. Now they're at the forefront of my mind. Because rangers, I've always been hesitant with rangers. They've always scared me because they are just snipers and they hit hard on a new game, and they're very quick to release their arrows. But with harpies, I just never really paid them much attention. But when their song ticking on your character counts as a hit, all of a sudden you need to be very careful, because if you don't try to bait an attack from them and you just let them fly in the air and idle At any point they can decide to go for a song, and if you're in melee with that, it's gonna instantly hit you. And there's no way to predict when they do it. Sometimes they do it just when they feel like it, sometimes they'll do it if you see them kind of going for a dive or trying to catch up to you. There's been some moments where they go for a song as they're trying to catch up to me when they're gliding through the air. But the best thing to do is just kind of lure them away from everyone else and bait one of their charge attacks where they try to scratch you with their claws.
I ask you.
Because if you don't lock them into an attack animation that you can punish, you're letting them, you're leaving them open for a song.
Were it possible.
And that's not good.
I shall, if there is, I shall pray.
And then Salmon Mat split. Ugh. That one too. I hate the quarry encounter because that little mage of his is the biggest hemorrhoid. And it's always just paranoia to the max with that one. So I just let myself sprint fall there. And so that the two spiders in the open can throw their little juices at the wall, and because, you know, if the spider juice hits you, that's a hit. Anything sourced from a hostile enemy or something that is considered hostile, even the fauna, that collides with your character model is basically a hit in this game. And in most games. I'm trying to think if there's something else that's kind of obscure that would still be a hit. I don't think so.
So now, will you have a look? What'll it be then?
Oh, fall damage is not a hit, but if you die from fall damage, it is. Oh, you know what? Okay, yeah. I was making some checkpoint saves earlier, and I put the mod back in just to kind of test some stuff out, so let me make sure. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll go ahead and save here. Just in case this ends up being the run. I mean, I'm gonna try to not get hit, but if I get hit, I'm gonna keep going, because the main point is to kind of memorialize this. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to come here and just drag this out. Once the dinput DLL files are out of the game folder path, they are deactivated, right? And here, just in case this does end up being the run, let me further show. Like, I only have one monitor, right? I don't know if this satisfies that, but it's a TV. I'm literally just playing on a TV. It's just, that's why I'm constantly tabbing out a lot of the time to check the quality of the recording and if I'm streaming, if I've been dropping frames or something. But it's really just nothing else, just Spotify and then, you know, and so on and so forth. Alright, like here, if I were to open Cheat Engine, where is it? Oh, it's right here. Let's see where Cheat Engine would be if I had it open. Oh, it would be right up here at the very top. Wait, where did it go? Oh, it's jumping all over the place. Jeez. Alright, yeah, so memory-wise, yeah, it's right there. So even if I had this open somewhere on my computer, which I don't, see, I closed it. Like, what you see is what you get. Like, I don't put, if I'm using mods or cheats, it's very obvious and I tell you when I am. So anyway, just figured may as well show that. How is everything? I don't know if it tells me if I drop stuff or not. Anyway. Yeah. Oh, I'm like, where is my game? I had to quit out in order to reset it. Oh, how funny would it be if this ends up being the no-hit run? Gosh, how funny that would be. How unconventional, how unorthodox of me. Showing my desktop and pausing the game during a run. Oh, oh no. Oh. Anyway. Alright, so I think I will just show the power leveling, but at the end of this. I don't want to do it right now. Oh. Yeah, so I'm just gonna barrel glitch. I can't be bothered trying to get it. Alright, so there's an easy way to, or an easier way to do it. I know a lot of videos show people just spamming the jump button, but that's not really a good way to do it. You know, ideally what you want to do is just, you know, 2 barrels, and then, I don't know if you see when my character is doing that, that means that there's a collision occurring with the barrel on the floor. And then boom. You can usually just do 1 or 2 jumps, but you can still clip through the floor. But that's an easier way to tell if you're positioned properly, right? Because a lot of the time, if you're just spam jumping, for example, here, let me, Alright, if you're just doing this, then you're not really aligning yourself with the gaps in the cells or whatever. I don't know what proper terminology you want to use. But if you just make sure that you have that animation where, I mean, I'm sure you already get it by now, but yeah. Right? Like here, that's a normal jog, but this, that's the animation you want to look for. And then, yeah. And I don't know if you could hear that. Let me pause the music. Another indication, an audio cue, if you will. Did you hear that, like, as if you were on top of a wooden floor? That kind of creaking noise, like when you're walking on top of wood surfaces? That's another way to tell as well that you're getting close to colliding into the wall, or clipping through the wall. And so, yep, just thought I would mention that. I didn't want to risk actually clipping through the floor. Even though that really wouldn't be a hit. I mean, you don't die from it. If you died from it, I would count it as a hit, but you just fall into the void and you don't take any damage. You just fall for a little bit and then the game tries to correct you. Well, it doesn't try to correct you, it does. It resets you if you're falling after a certain time. It's not like Elden Ring, where if you're falling for more than the game wants you to, it insta-kills you, right? Dogma's a bit nicer than that. It just teleports you to the last stable position you were at. Which I'm surprised Elden Ring doesn't do that, but you know, whatever. And so yeah, let me just make sure. Okay. The reason I go get the broadsword is not necessarily for the damage boost. I mean, it's nice to get more damage in, but more importantly, it's for the knockdown. Right, I'm already at 171. Because with the weapons in Cassardus, they weren't strong enough to knock down the harpies with 1 hit, and that's problematic. And then killing those 2 goblins with the throw blast that I did just now, you do want to do that because you want to be able to purchase Skyward Lash at the very least. So it actually works pretty well that those 2 goblins are enough with the Ring of Perseverance, or maybe without it, but I always go and get the Ring of Perseverance, otherwise ranking up is even slower than it already is. And yeah, they give me just enough to purchase what I need. Whenever I decide to go for the Strider version of this, and even then I don't know, because Strider would take longer because I'd be using weapon skills and actually fighting enemies for a longer period of time, right? I probably would still want a power level just because even though you don't rank up super quickly with bigger XP values, which is kind of an oversight in hard mode really, but anyway, it still helps. And then if I'm going to be using weapon skills more often, then I definitely want more stamina for that. I really don't want to be chugging mushrooms after 1 or 2 weapon skills either. That would just get very old even with the shortcut I have in my controller configurations.
Have your pick, or will it be? Or will it be to have your pick? Come again. She was these are...
Yeah, so as expected, I'm trying to push a key that would bring up the hooks mod menu, but since it's not on the game in the game folder, it's deactivated. And even when it was still in the game folder, I didn't have any cheats that prevented hits. And that's another thing too. You can have as much defense modded in that thing as you want. If you get hit by an enemy, your character still shakes. So even if you manage to have it such that you don't take any damage from it. Alright, I usually try to align myself behind that hill just in case, you know, the Striders try to hit me. And then that mage typically is not a problem, but if he decided to go for a core attack, then I would have just made sure I was sprinting perpendicular to his direction. That way they would miss me as I'm sprinting. But he's typically not an issue there. But again, you know, if you see him going for the core attack, as long as you're running at a good enough angle away from them and not just toward them or directly be away from them, then they don't really hit you. Alright, so for here... yeah. Anytime they start coming toward me, I try to back away to bait that attack you saw. That's the ideal attack you want to bait. And I'm purposefully sprinting toward them because when you sprint, you're louder and therefore you extend your aggro range. Alright, good. Sometimes they don't fall for it, you know, even though I try to back away as they're approaching me, they'll just decide to linger in the air, and while most of the time you're safe in closing distance and doing a skyward while they're lingering, it's technically not safe to do that because they could still go for a song. Yeah, like right there, for example. And she didn't fall for my bait, but if you're quick enough, you're usually fine. But I don't know. I kind of want to be as consistent as possible in this. Yeah, so for that, you kind of want to release the attack moments after you see them going for their attack, because, you know, even though the light attacks are pretty quick, there's still a wind up to them. And so if you release the light attack too late, they're still gonna hit you. And this is why I liked power leveling too, because I would just have to kill a few more goblins after power leveling, along with the fauna and Dusk Moon, and then I could purchase Compass Slash. But every time I had to reset, it would take me about an hour just to get to this point, and I just couldn't take it anymore. And so I cut it out. Alright, so now for this section, you want to just jog. If you sprint, it almost always attracts more than one of the harpies, because I don't know how it works. I don't know where they originally spawned down there, but every time I sprint my way over here, like look at that, she's already coming over here a little bit. It always pulls at least 2 of them, and that's not ideal at all. Alright, and after her I kind of come just to the middle. So normally I just wait at the beginning of this branch, and then once I kill her I kind of inch my way forward about halfway down the bark. And it's just a waiting game, you just have to be patient. And then there she comes. Yeah, so with these harpies, I've never experienced them going into an immediate song after they're in the air for a few seconds, but I guess technically I should have waited to see what she would do if she didn't fall for my bait. Yeah, she noticed me quicker when I sprinted, so you definitely want to intentionally sprint in some sections. Ooh, that was close. that was pretty close. I almost didn't hit her in time. Yeah, I don't really prefer just rushing it to here. I really did enjoy the security that Compass Slash gave me, but you know, again, after so many resets, I really just didn't tolerate power leveling anymore. I mean, I could farm the goblins if I really, really wanted to, but that's just, you know, I'm back to square one at that point. I'm just shifting the time from spending it in BBI to spending it in Grancis at night. And so yeah, my pathing is very intentional here. Alright, please, 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 please behave. Alright, thank you. Alright, so you definitely don't want to sprint toward here. Like, you can sprint on the way here, but you want to stop before you get probably here, right? Kind of like what I did, then just jog the rest of your way here. And then you really do have to stay over here. You can jog over here, and then at this rock, you just want to inch your way toward the tree. And then whoever notices you first, you then want to come back here, and when you see you're colliding with the wall, then just follow the same path back that you came from. Because if you come too far out, then you're going to trigger the rest of them, right? And especially with that second harpy. So when I killed the first harpy, no problem. I was able to have enough time to bring her all the way over here. But with the second harpy, since she's closer, you don't really have much time to backtrack, and so you just want to stretch it as much as possible. And then when you see she's going for the attack, then you want to attack back. And typically, what happened just now will happen. But if both of them decide to aggro to you, even though they shouldn't have, because that's happened a few times, then just don't sprint, but just keep jogging. Right, and I'm on a very light load, so I would recommend that you make sure you're on a very light load as well. And just keep jogging and jogging and jogging, and just make sure that, you know, if one of them decides to attack you, you attack back, and once you knock it down, just jump cancel away. Because you don't want to stay there too long, because then the other Harpy can decide to wombo combo you while you're busy with the other one. I'm trying to get one of these goblins to trigger the explosion here. It's kind of funny when they do. Like that. Oh, that's the first time they've all gotten killed by it. And typically it's just one that comes over here and triggers it, but that's beautiful. How he just sent them all into the grave. Because typically I lure them out, like I kill those first two because they're not fully aggroed, and so I got preemptive damage. That's why I was able to one-shot them, because while they're screaming like that, they're technically not fully aggroed to you, according to the game, and so you still get preemptive damage from them somehow. Probably because you're coming out of a loading screen. And that's kind of something that I'm definitely going to utilize later on in this run, is taking advantage of the grace periods we get after loading screens. That's the whole reason I'm able to reload shift through the Blue Moon Tower. Because you have a grace period when you're sprinting into a group of enemies, and then a grace period when you reload into a group of enemies that you can still save. And if you can still save, that means that enemies are not fully aware of you. And if they're not fully aware of you, that means they can take extra damage if you attack them. But I tell you what, the Blue Moon Rangers, they're freaking quick on reloads. I actually got hit once because I wasn't quick enough to bring up the pause menu. And plus I was directly in front of him, which was a mistake. Because if you're directly in front of a ranger upon a reload, they almost instantaneously ready their arrow and fire it at you. And so you always want to try to be at an angle with them, not in direct line of their sight.
Even goblins can be a threat, and they walk the roads openly of late. Take no chances, men. Cut them down on sight.
Alright, for this one, just gonna inch forward and then come back here.
This pass is a nest for every manner of foul beasts, Sir Arisen. No man can save from where they will strike.
And then just stay by the tree here.
They come from above. Ready yourselves.
Trying to bait these harpies specifically one by one is incredibly difficult, because the ox also influences their aggression toward you. So what I do is I wait for the ox to stop, and then I just inch my way forward, and I typically stay to the right here, just so I can be in direct line of sight with that topmost harpy. Alright, then I just come back down here. Alright. And then just come back down here because there's a slope. Yeah, at this point I typically just try to close distance quickly and go for the skyward. But yeah, it's unfortunate when they don't, you know, fall for my bait like that. Ooh, nice. But yeah, it's typically been fine. Honestly, the times when they do decide to go into a song is more when they're flying. I've noticed that if they collide with something on their way toward you, like say that you can see they're trying to catch up to you and they collide with something, it's almost as if the collision sort of resets their queue, and then the attack they were going for gets cancelled, and then they go for whatever was next in it, which usually ends up being a song. That happened here a few times, like when I was luring this harpy and I didn't get the skyward on it initially. She typically hovers back over here, collides with the rock, and then she goes into a song right after the collision. And so you really want to try and not miss the skyward lash on them. But if you do, just, you know, kind of pay attention to what they're doing and keep your distance, just so that in the event they do go for a song, you can sprint away from it in time. And then just make sure you're not sprinting toward a group of harpies either, because then, oh boy. Alright, I'm just gonna use Throw Blast on these stupid wolves. They're so obnoxious. Oh gosh. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Alright, the wolves make me nervous because I don't have deflect anymore. So I can't let them hit me. All I have is, what is it, blink, right? Yeah, all I have is blink, really, against them. So it's like, what are you doing, what are you doing, what are you doing? I don't have any of my fancier weapon arts anymore. Although honestly, not like I would try to deflect them anyway. Sometimes I would, if I saw that they were going for a charge. And I didn't want to leave myself open because, yeah, Compass Slash and Full Moon Slash give you iframes, but guess what? It also gives you a recovery period. And if something decides to hit you the millisecond your iframes end and you enter your recovery period, it was all for naught. And I have tried so many different things to skip over this quest, but it really does need you to escort the ox. I have tried to carry Mercedes all the way to the gate. They don't care. She's not important. She's not the flag for this quest. I've tried to glitch into Grand Soren and didn't do anything. When I would reload, it didn't load in Grand Soren, it just loaded in the glitched portion I was in. So that didn't work. I even tried to reload shift my way past the guards, because typically they don't even let you near the door, but on the main entrance into Grand Soren, there's, what are they called? I guess the stairwell? No, the stair handles or whatever. But they're not really stair. Anyway, there's a half wall that they don't notice you if you're on the other side of it. And so I tried to inch my way forward and make contact with the door. There wasn't a prompt for the door at all. And so, yeah. And even if I could somehow manage to get Grand Soren to load in, there's no guarantee that the quests would be available, right? Because the game would still think that I haven't satisfied this one. And so there's no guarantee that Barnaby would have his quest ready for me, and so on and so forth. There's no guarantee that I'd even be able to leave, because fast travel isn't activated until we reach Grand Soren. And so, oh well, we just have to deal with this part every time. And the wolves will always despawn if you kill the harpies here ahead of time like I did. Which is nice. It's nice that I don't have to deal with them here. Wow, the enemies are being generous today.
The creatures come! Cut them down, men!
Yeah, block through that bitch. Their shields have way too much stability. Look at that. I mean, that's such a whatever shield. Oh, but they can tank everything I can throw at them, except a throw blast, of course.
We're not far now, men. Keep marching. We've come this far safely. Stay vigilant till we're in Grand Storm's gates, men.
Ugh, don't do that. Yeah, I don't have deflect, so if I block, even if I go into the frame that would have been a deflect, it doesn't register because I don't have the core skill. And it would just translate into a normal block, which would be a hit.
Gold or blood? What's it to be?
There ahead! Grand Soren is in sight! We are nearly there, men. Now march!
When I was just getting my feet wet for the Strider version of this, I had so much fun just putting these bandits to sleep. And just three-folding them into a slumber, which would just instantly kill them, because once the sleep activated, the next arrow would do so much more damage and then just finish them off. Now I'm going to save here, just in case my game decides to crash. It hasn't crashed here, but it's crashed in other places, which I don't know why, but yeah, there's no way I'm going to go through all that again. And yeah, just going to enjoy the view from this lovely angle. It'd be nice if I could get the no-hit here. So far it's been pretty well. Anytime I've tried this on my own, I think maybe because I'm in explanation mode, and so I'm a bit distracted. It's as if I'm talking with someone, but I'm just talking with myself technically right now. Right? And then someone else will just hear the conversation in the video. And so I'm a bit more relaxed. For now, I don't know, maybe later on I'll get a bit more nervous. But anyway. Yeah, not sure. Again, the most enjoyable aspect of this whole thing has just been the observations I've had to make and the solutions I've developed for the sections. And then once I obtained those solutions, the execution of those solutions wasn't really as important to me. Once I had a solution, I was satisfied. And so it's now becoming more stubbornness than anything trying to complete this particular run. Especially with this game. In this game, I enjoy no-hit encounters more, right? So Damon no-hit or Grigori no-hit. Although Grigori no-hit would be kind of... I don't know if I'd enjoy it. He's such a large enemy, and he's just darting around the battlefield half the time. He's a cool fight, definitely worthy of a final encounter-ish, even though he's technically not the final encounter, but he should have been. But he can still be obnoxious just from the sheer size of his model, and then we can only cover so much ground, right? Half the time I'm just running after him, which is annoying if I'm melee.
We've arrived. Walk proud.
But yeah.
Their kinds will be tight to the fate of the Arisen.
Okay.
If you know your destiny, know them.
Alright, so I'm actually gonna take a bathroom break here and get some more water. I need to drink more water, but as a result that means more bathroom trips. So what I'll do is I'll just I'll bring this back up. And here, let me just check so far. I'll go ahead and pause the timer, even though, you know, I don't really have this to keep, not like it's a speed run, but I do like to know how long each section typically takes, right? Even though I am talking a lot more, so this is going to be a lot longer than what a typical run would be for me. But anyway, BRB. Oh gosh, I was away long enough for my controller to disconnect. Wow. It was worth it though. It's a really nice morning. The birds were being really cute, so I just stayed there and listened. And then they went away. Alright, kinda need to get back into the groove here. Where was I? Alright, so timer. Well, let's see, this is at 54 and this is at 112, so... Wow, I was gone for almost 10 minutes, probably? Alright, anyway. Alright, that's good, that's going. I always get paranoid that even though I see what it's recording, I'm like, but is it recording it though? Yeah, it is. That's why I'm constantly tabbing out a lot of the time. It'd be nice to have a secondary monitor so I could just look at it as many times as I want.
There you have your pick. What will it be? What will it be?
I don't need any throw blasts for now. There's a reason I call it running simulator, because that's all I do.
Any you like. What will it be? What will it be? Have your pick. What will it? Understood.
Yeah, so I rest just so that it's not nighttime by the time I'm done with the Everfall.
I take all the time.
Get some more mushrooms. Oh, whoops. And then I may as well just buy out, whoa, the stock there.
Take all do come.
That way I don't have to keep coming back to you for 'em. Okay. Yeah, make sure you get the fairy stone. It would suck if you have to run all the way back up again.
Well, the app but it I knew. Beyond, but the ever, which is
Oh, wait, hold on. Do that first and then fairy stone out.
A word, sir. Are you to that go?
I'll like it. We shall read.
I don't know why I pick up the liquid vim. I haven't used it in forever.
What will it be?
I used to use it against Grigori, but now I just throw blast him to hell.
Come again?
But oh well, just in case I ever want it, I know it's there.
Ah, the one of late. I'm the choice. The task as I. Well, if there's. The choice is yours. In truth, and the correct good.
And I have the Dreamwick. Yeah, I'm gonna check my inventory like 5 times in a row, just cause. Okay, to avoid this ambush, whoop. I head for the apple tree and then turn at this bush and head for that tree. You could probably get a little closer, but it seems like anytime I do, I end up triggering them somehow, so I just stick to this specific path and then just turn there and boom, all good. And all the times I've taken this route, the Chimera has only spawned over there once. It really threw me off guard. It's a pretty rare spawn when he's here. But just in case he is, it's really easy to just go over there a little bit and just jog right by him. Because of course if I were to sprint by him, it would alert him more easily. But just jogging by him is fine. And then I avoid the snow harpies this way too. Gosh, my index finger is starting to strain with how much I've had to clock grip lately with this run. Alright, so I don't know if this is a placebo effect or not, but it seems like anytime I reload the area, less harpies want to follow me. I mean, it does reset their positions, but I don't know if it matters from this distance or not. Ooh. But, I may as well do it. And then another thing I'll do, I'll just sprint up to, I don't know, here, and then just jog the rest of the way, kind of see what they're doing. And then by the time I get to that bush, if they're kind of close by, I'll just start sprinting and take the Nostrum. Yeah, she's gonna notice me. Okay. I used to just run straight through into Hillfigure Knoll, but there's way too many harpies over there, and I'm playing with my luck if I decide to go over, like, go through. And so taking this side path, there's less harpies here, and less chances for them to catch up to me. Because even though I can avoid them hitting me with their claws, if they decide to sing while playing catch up, then I'm screwed. Because they will catch up to me, and then, yeah. That happened one time. The harpy literally sang in my face while running with me, or gliding with my sprint. And I was like, wow, fucking rude. Yeah, so make sure that you get the bronze idol, because that's what I need for Caxton to give me Eden's Warden. The fire enchanted sword of snow harpy killing goodness, oh my gosh. Trying to deal with those snow harpies without knocking them down with one hit is just not a good time. Absolutely not. It was not working out because they're tankier than regular harpies, and so my broadsword wasn't cutting it. I mean, as you see in the prologue, it takes 3 hits with the broadsword before you can knock a snow harpy down. Or at least with a non-upgraded broadsword anyway. Or without any barbed nails. Although even so, the snow harpies are just tanky. So if I can have Eden's Warden, and it works out so well because that quest is available the moment I actually need it. My original plan was to go into the quarry chest and farm it there, but I was already avoiding farming chests in BBI. I didn't want to come to Grancis and do the same thing. I'm not even gonna farm... Well, it's not really farming. The barbed nails have a high probability in the chest in Pastona Caverns, but I only ever just get one. For Strider, I would probably get both. That chest resets after 8 days of rest for me. But I'm just gonna get it once here. Alright, so put Port Crystal down here, and then get my Throw Blasts. Just to speed up the process with the undead, and to also carve a path. The last thing you want to do is sprint by undead.
For now, if there is...
Well, here, let me see how many, I'm gonna take 16. Whoops. And then, I'm good on mushrooms. I don't need more mushrooms. Because I did that mistake once in the Chamber of Resolution. And, when you're sprinting, enemies take longer to load in. And if an undead loads in front of you as you're sprinting, they almost always immediately start flailing their arms and then they hit you. And so that's very aggravating when that happens. Especially when it's easily avoided. And then I just jump over those rats as a precaution. Usually they don't have enough time to notice me and bite me, but there was one time when I was just jogging in here, they did go for a bite. They missed, but they still went for it. Alright, this is where I'm going to clear the path. Alright. Yeah, that arm flail is awful. I used to just sprint by here, but I was risking it. But here it's usually fine because you have enough room on both sides to avoid those 2 undead. Ugh, but then this part. The spiders are usually not an issue here. But I still want to sprint by them. But these ghosts, oh my god. Here. Ugh, alright. They teleport. If you see them in the back of the room, that doesn't mean they're gonna stay there. And so I always just... Ugh, it's very nerve-wracking trying to get into that room. without them phasing through me. And then here too. You can probably get by these guys, but, you know, don't risk it. But then here again, you have plenty of room to go by those two.
And lamentation finds its inexorable source. Whence then
Perfect. At rank 5 I can purchase Compass Slash, which is nice to have. Especially for the Snow Harpies with Eden's Warden. Although even then, you know... Oh, I forgot to pick this back up. Hold on. Yeah, make sure you have your port crystal before you go to Blue Moon, because if you get to Blue Moon's gates and you realize you do not have a port crystal to put down, that is going to suck. I mean, I reload shift through that area anyway, but still, you know, I'd have to deal with the Snow Harpies again, most likely, and it's the Snow Harpies I don't want to deal with more than I have to. Absolutely not.
Not be that with the choice. This is no. I must. No, you are quite a guy.
tonight?
You are to pray. A covenant is not, there's been pent. You are to, I pray. He it's should the, any prove just.
Right, and that should have updated to Damn Bird. There we go.
Here now, take it exercise. It's off. What's the mouse coming? And
Yep, there you go.
I shall. The mouse coming.
And then I think I rested 4 days, and it was enough to update his store. But I rest for 5 days just so I can get Fornible's quest out of the way as well. And so it's really convenient that it works in both ways, like 2 birds, 1 stone. It's really nice. It almost makes you wonder, like, this works too well. I feel like this was intentionally designed for a run just like this. And I'm just gonna get 40 throw blasts, and then another one of these.
What will it be today? Have your pick. What will it be?
And then learn Compass Slash. Don't forget to get that. It helps. But you don't want to spam it either with the snow harpies. They can still get you.
What will it be today? Have your pick. What will it? Understood.
But at least now I won't have to be paranoid about timing my light attacks
Have your pick.
as well
Understood.
as I need to with the harpies.
Have your pick. What will it? Understood. Have your pick. What will it? Understood. Have your pick. What will it? Understood.
Business in hand. The mouse. The master works. The master works all. The master works.
May as well. It doesn't really do much, but I don't want it to be this dark. Wow, it tends to be dark on the 5th day a lot of the time. I wonder if that's intentional for Fornible's quest, like, oh, he's guilty, oh, dark day. That'd actually be funny if that's what it is. Because most of the time I make him innocent, just, you know, to have infinite buffs, but in this run it's like, nope, don't care, let's just get it over with. And every time he's been guilty, it's been a dark day on the 5th day if I rest consecutively. And so I'm not sure if that's just a coincidence or intentional. It'd be cool if it's intentional. Alright, so I'm just gonna skip the first group of goblins here. It's really not worth it.
Focus. The hunt is afoot.
And then I'll just kill the second group up more. But, you know, I don't have as much stamina now, and I don't really want to be spamming mushrooms while also trying to attack them, so I'll just sprint by them. And then come over here to this little spider hiding in the bush, conveniently separated from the others, which is nice. That way they don't hit you with their little butt juices. Look how huge these spiders are. Imagine seeing a spider that big. Oh. How about no? Okay. This should go well, but here's hoping. I get on this rock, wait for him to land, jump down, and then chuck a throw blast. Actually, that's plenty of damage. I just want you to fly away. I don't want to kill you here.
bird, fleeing to its roost the moment its fortunes turn. We cannot let this chance escape. Come, Arisen, to the Blue Moon Tower.
Alright, so this time around I'm just gonna sprint. I think there's less snow harpies here in this portion. It always feels like that anyway, but I'm just gonna keep sprinting. And then if I hear one of them going for a song, I'll just... I don't know, I'll take the Nostrum, I guess. I hope I don't have to, though. I like to save that for the Blue Moon section. Okay, good. Yeah, I have never had a snow harpy chase after me in this portion. When I'm going to the Dragon Forged, yeah. And so that's what makes me think like there's more snow harpies in that phase of the game. But in this section, or in this phase of the game, it doesn't really seem like there's as many. Okay, this part... It's another one that's pretty difficult to lure out one by one. Yeah, with these I don't gamble. I don't like to close distance. And so this part can take a while. Ugh, whatever. Alright, there's 5 here. There should be. So that's 1. Yeah, it's better if you lure them away from the others because you don't want them ganking you. Alright, this will be the 4th one. And so it benefits you to just keep coming this way. Because they eventually want to go back to where they came from. Oh, beautiful. That was so good. Alright, that should be all 5. Yeah, so that definitely worked out. Just keep trying to pull them further and further away because then they try to fly back to their original spawn locations. And that's what you want. You just want to make sure you're never dealing with more than one. Otherwise, even if you knock one down with a light attack, the other one could decide to go for another attack that you just cannot get away from in time. Alright, yeah, I'm pretty sure. I swear, there was one time where I felt like there were more. I felt like I counted 6 or 7, but it's always been 5 thus far. I'm gonna go ahead and save just in case, though. I probably miscounted that time, but yeah. Assuming there's no witchcraft involved, there's usually only 5. And then for this part with the Rangers, it's the first part. I'm going to reload shift, and then I'm going to do it again in Blue Moon here, and then again in Blue Moon with the Ranger spawns. And take advantage of that grace period with the saves and reload. And for the rangers here, as long as I keep sprinting, they don't unleash unless I'm going directly in front. Alright, so he went for 5-fold, but even if he just went for a normal core attack, I would have been fine. And then I save here. And I could still keep going forward because they haven't fully aggroed, which is interesting since that ranger already noticed me. So it makes me think either a number of enemies need to be aggroed to you, or you just need to be, or maybe that ranger is technically not fully aggroed to me. I'm not terribly sure. Or maybe I'm far away enough from him now that I'm out of his range, right? Because they do have like a sphere of aggro, if you will. But I'm just going to go ahead and reload here. Because if I keep going forward then, and I still have to do this now, I need to hear for if they notch their arrows. So I'm actually going to pause the music here so I can hear them. And then put the volume up a bit.
Kill 'em all!
Yeah, so here I can't save anymore. So I definitely think it's depending on the number of enemies you're around as well. But either way, you know, definitely after a reload you have a grace period. And then depending on how many are around you, or if you're right next to one, the grace period is very short. That's how I got hit, actually. I didn't bring up the menu in time one time. Yeah, see, like he was ready. If I were directly in front of him, that probably would have released and hit me. I swear, that's how quick it was when I was going up the stairs during Salmon Mat's split last time. Yeah, I heard the longbow here. I'm sure every no-hitter in other games wish they had this, just to look around. But yeah, see, he was preparing it. And I can still save, so, you know, just because you can save doesn't mean you're safe. But now that I'm pretty far behind him, I should be safe here. Yeah, okay. And then I'll just jog the rest of the way here. And get my barbed nails. Let me turn the music back on. I could probably just go the rest of the run without the barbed nails, but I'm here. May as well get them. Now, if I were to sprint here, you know, again, sprinting makes you louder and therefore increases your aggro range. But if you just jog, then the snow harpies will mind their own business. Yeah, I'm pretty safe sprinting by that spider every time, and then for these two, I just jump. Because if you try to run through them, they will likely hit you. So just jump over it. Just like the rats in the catacombs. You can probably avoid them just by sprinting, but you may as well just jump over them. Imagine if you're on a PB of 1 and you get hit by a rat, or you get hit by butt juice. That would piss me off. It's different if you get hit by something that was pretty difficult to avoid to begin with, right? But to get hit by something like that, it's like, no, don't do that to me. Alright, so I'm just gonna take this now. Now for this section, hold on. I'm usually safe as long as I'm very light. So since I'm in the light category, I'm gonna take this. And then as I'm taking more mushrooms, it'll probably push me into the what's called ultralight, right? It doesn't show up in our weight class here. The lowest we ever see it is very light, but you definitely go a little bit faster if you manage to either have an augment like leg strength, or you take a curative that increases encumbrance limit. That's what they call it here. And so I just want to go as fast as possible and sprint by the snow harpies, and I should avoid their song as long as nothing interferes with my path. And so as long as I don't collide with a Grand Soaring Guard or an enemy or an object, and I just keep sprinting up until I get to the harpies, like the 2 harpies that are just chilling by the open area where the, I guess the moat, well it's not a moat, but just a pool of water. And then that's where I'm going to save and begin the reload shifting. Alright, so I'm going to be ultralight.
What are you doing? Fight!
I pushed the wrong button there, but it's fine. I was still able to save. Yeah, as long as those 2 harpies don't notice you, you're pretty good to save there. But then if one got up, I probably wouldn't have been able to save. That did happen once, and I just had to reload from outside Blue Moon. So it'd actually be a good idea to save before you go inside, because it didn't autosave when I entered. And then again here. And if you wanted to, you could take time to just kill the enemies here, but the snow harpies are going to be a pain in the ass because they're going to constantly be trying to put the soldiers to sleep. And that's really annoying because you can't get near them while they're doing that, otherwise you get hit by the song. And I can still keep going. Yeah, so it's really random. It really just depends on where enemies are. And then I think because there's Grand Soren soldiers here, they kind of divide the aggro between you and them. And so if it were just me, I probably wouldn't be able to travel as far as I can, because when it's just me here, when it's the Salmon Mat bandits, yeah, I cannot go this far, typically. But with the Grand Soren soldiers, I feel like they're the ones who help divide the aggro. And thus allow me to travel further before the grace period expires. Like when I was Strider, I did deal with them with my weapon skills. But, you know, here, it's like, I'll just shift through them. You always want to aim for consistency, and there's not much consistency when it comes to melees in these sort of situations. Like, if the snow harpies weren't here, I probably would try to get rid of the enemies with my weapon skills, but I'm not going to deal with their sporadic singing.
Almost there. Quickly.
Alright, I'm only gonna hit this 9 times. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and back away. Okay, well the Griffin got stuck this time, but most of the time what happens is, after I'm done on the 9th hit, the Griffin comes back over here, and will attack them with their lightning. And if you don't break the gate in time, and the lightning hits you the millisecond your iframes end with the cutscene, oh, that's, trust me, it's gonna piss you off. So just avoid that altogether. You know, let the soldiers take care of the rest. You can't even get rid of them even if you wanted to. I've tried. You can't pick them up. And so if the game forces you to have them, you may as well let them, you know, keep you safe. And then just come over here to the corner of safety.
What in blazes? What in blazes? We're up against mean odds. I'd hope to... Oh, heroic death. Oh.
It comes. Clear your mind of all but the fight.
Alright, I should be safe. If the Griffin were any closer, then I would, like, if the Griffin moved up more to close the distance with these guards, then I would just run over here to this corner and avoid this altogether. But at this distance, you should be safe here. He usually only does this 4 times before breaking the gate down, so let's see, this will be the 3rd one. And that was the 4th one. There we go.
This way, Arisen. Make haste.
Now, let's say you don't have the weight encumbrance, invigoration, whatever it's called.
Made it through. Come, we'll slay it from the
What is it called? Disencumbered. Oh.
rooftop.
So let's say you're not disencumbered and you're just very light. You'd want to keep sprinting. But since I'm going as fast as possible here, I do want to wait until I hear him catch up on my left side. Okay. Because if I come up here too quickly, he gets stuck in the air. It's kind of funny, but also very inconvenient. Oh my god. You know what it was? I stopped sprinting. Like, normally I have enough time. Well, that's a hit. That's too bad. Oh well. I was hoping I could get a no-hit, but I was expecting something to happen. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, the smallest difference you do, and it makes or breaks it. Like, now I'm not even sure if he's gonna be there. Because I wasn't able to catch up to him in time. Oh well, I'm not going to reset. Like, I'm just doing explanations here. Oh look, now he's prepared. Yeah, fucker. Whatever. So after the second throw I wait, right? So there I do it and then I wait here. Just to make sure I can stun lock him. Bastard. Oh well. Oh well. Yeah, if you can't stagger him on that first throw, then whoops. Did it count the hit? Yeah, okay. Oh well. And that's what I mean, like, one little mistake and I just, because I'm not really fighting a lot of stuff, I'm just running by everything and just killing it quickly, so when there is a mishap like this, it's just pretty frustrating.
You've gone and found the Griffin.
But, oh well.
It joys me to see a well-crafted stratagem bear fruit.
At least now I won't be too nervous, because I'm like, well, the run's dead. I mean, I could still get a PB, and I'll try for it, but, yeah. I was secretly hoping that it would be the run. Because, basically, if I get hit before my distance PB of the evil eye, I just, I lose inspiration to keep going, which you shouldn't, because then you don't get practice with the other areas, but you know, I can't help it.
What will it be? What will it be? Have your pick. What will it? Understood.
Honestly, what I should do, if I can't catch up to it in time, like when I noticed it turned around too early, like it did that time, I should just run away and wait for it to go airborne. Right? And then, because when it goes airborne, it goes for a lightning attack. And then you can just, with a throw blast equipped, you can walk away from it and not get hit. And then when he tries to slam down on the ground afterward, oh shit. No. I thought I had to turn it into him. And then when he's ready to slam down onto the ground, I can chuck the throw blast and stun him that way. Yeah, I wasn't expecting him to turn around that quickly. Because usually I have to, you know, wait for him. But yeah, I did kind of stop halfway through that run. That's so funny how just that little pause was enough to change his behavior. Yeah, and it really be that way. The smallest misdirection, or just the smallest misstep, and it'll change the scenario, and then you kind of just have to improv or deal with it very quickly. Well, here comes Salmon Mat's part, the one I hate. Well, it's really the quarry I hate. The bandits not so much, although I have to be careful with the bandits too. Well, the good thing about getting hit there is now I can just edit the video to cut out that 10-minute part I was out, because I was like, if this is the run, I can't edit the video. But since it's not, and it really is just going to be a guide or a checkpoint reference for me or others if they want to try it, then I'll just be like, I'm just going to skip over that. Alright, this damn Griffin. Hold on. One time it landed here and oh my gosh, it almost hit me if I didn't compass slash through it. The damn fucking bird. Oh, you better not land here. That's fucking ridiculous if you do. I hate Griffins. Okay, for this one, I want to sprint away And because if I just jog away, the stupid fucking little shit mage will hit me with his stupid core attacks. So sprint away. If Salmon Mat goes for his angle, I'm gonna lift stone out of here. Alright, good. You also want to make sure that you're not near any rats when you kill the mage, because there was one bloody time, I was near a rat when I killed the mage, and when I reloaded back after Salmon Mat left, the rat bit me. Oh, I can't express to you how fucking mad I was about that. I was like, really? A fucking rat bite?
Oh, the blood, what's it to be?
Yes, I know that's pretty cheap of me to do, but they're cheap back, so they deserve it. That actually looks kind of cool. Look at that. That's actually pretty cool. A picture like that. But hey, you do what you can for consistency. Although that one was pretty close. Usually, he doesn't go for the 5-fold right away. And so that was kind of a gamble. I should have just kept... I shouldn't have sprinted toward him. I should have sprinted away from him. You know, kind of at an angle. Yeah, I heard the longbow. Alright, I shouldn't be careless. Cause see, in my mind, I'm like, oh, I already got hit. Game over. It's like, no, you can still get a PB. The thing is, like, I could have probably gotten a lower PB by now, but anytime I get hit before Grigori, I'm like, well, it's dead to me.
Keep moving.
Just sucks. But yeah, for the Griffin, I should have just, I should never assume it's gonna behave exactly the way I want. Even if I did, you know, keep sprinting and wait to hear him catch up to me. You know, there's still a possibility that he decides to just bug out like that.
Start with the weakest.
What's it to be?
Alright, this is the section I'm gonna pause the music because that ranger up the stairs is waiting for me.
Kill 'em all!
Keep moving.
Wow, he was quick. I really couldn't go that far at all. Yeah, this little section here is always like super reloady.
Keep moving.
Ooh. All right. I should have taken more mushrooms.
Keep moving.
Oh my gosh, I can't. I'm gonna have to, so it's when I open a menu. That's interesting. Okay. So it's not just that, it's when you open a menu or interact. So I'm gonna have to use the shortcut. Like as I think I'm just gonna jog though, so. Oh gosh. Gonna be able to do that?
Keep moving.
Alright, I'll do that. Yeah, so it's the moment you do an action, different than what you're doing. I think that's kind of what I was thinking about, because when I'm loading in, I already have my thumbstick forward, and so I'm already moving on the reload. And so there, because I was stationary and did another action, the game updated and was like, oh, you're surrounded by enemies though.
Keep moving.
Yeah, and here I can save again. Oh, I can keep going. I'll reload. At this point up the stairs, the final flight of stairs, I should be fine. And ta-da! Reload shifting your way through an otherwise incredibly cumbersome area without ranged options. Because yeah, I'm able to lure them down sometimes, but it takes a while, and there was a few occasions where even when I did get them to path correctly, they ended up getting stuck at one point And even leaving and coming back into the area was just not working out for me. They weren't positioned properly, and all the time I was wasting, I was just like, you know what? If I can't find something more consistent than just trying to route and make them path down here, then I'm just gonna abandon the melee concept. And even then, I'm sure some people will find this method. What's the word? I guess cheesy or whatever, but I'm glad I found it. If it weren't for this run, there's no way I would have tried experimenting with it the way I have.
One King's ring is a talisman of incomparable character.
Wow, you spawned over there, huh?
A vessel worthy of housing the whole of my magic. What sublime bliss! What heady rapture! Yes, I will see my dream made reality.
But yeah, as a strider, it was actually pretty fun angling the fracture dart and killing them that way.
I shall be reborn unto life everlasting.
But as melee, it's just obnoxious because the freaking rangers just constantly sniping you from a distance and not giving you a lot of options otherwise. Did I update my split? Not like it really matters anymore, but... Oh, I did not. Well, you know, that's exactly what I mean. Bye. Alright, well, whatever. Oh, it's almost been 2 hours for this. Okay. Yeah. Now let me get the music back.
Have your pick. What will it be today? What will it be?
Okay, so I don't need that many throw blasts.
What will it be? Have your pick. What will it be?
Anything else I can learn?
What will it be? Have your pick. What will it? Understood.
Because up next is the Caaaawk. It bears the head of a Caaaawk. Damn, I'm really annoyed that I got hit by the Griffin because, yeah, it's, oh well. I don't know, like, as someone who's just watching the video, it doesn't look like much what I'm doing. But then you try it for yourself. I mean, for me, I feel the full brunt of it because I'm the one who's had to route it and come up with these methods on my own. And so I'm like, oh no, it was not easy, let me fucking tell you. It took me a while to figure out how to do this and how to handle that and blah blah blah. So as a viewer, you're kind of seeing the final result of all of that. And so I know that from that perspective, it doesn't seem like much at all. Oh, I forgot to go to Mercedes. But then you start taking a little hit here, a little hit there. Sometimes, especially the Harpies. I would say if there's gonna be a run killer in this, it's the fucking Harpies. Oh my god, just absolute nonsense with those things sometimes.
I had thought they trusted you were above the base treasons of... I fear I put on it.
And actually the Seneschal too. the Seneschal can be pretty Monka-esque because, you know, with that one, not like I've tried extensively to see if I could complete that without my pawn's assistance, but I mean, either you or your pawn needs to grapple the Seneschal in order to deliver the final blow. Otherwise, his health, like, he'll just keep going despite his health bar being at 0. It doesn't matter. And I don't know if there's a way to make it so that you don't need your pawn's assistance or in some way, shape, or form, but I can't really be bothered trying to figure that out because the game intends for you to have your pawn assist you in that. And so just like the Grand Sorin guards are required for the Griffin, I'm just like, well, the pawn's required here because literally unless I grapple him and the pawn hits him, or the pawn grapples him and I hit him, we're not going to progress into New Game Plus. And so it can be a bit tricky avoiding he and his pawn, even with throw blasts, because of the wave he sends out, and then since he's a fighter in New Game save file, the sword attacks can be pretty quick. But yeah, I mean, if someone looks at this and goes, not interested, it seems boring, I'm like, that's fair. In a way, it kind of is. I just have a personal affinity for it because I've essentially created all of these routes myself, and so I'm like, oh, yay, I get to actually execute them now that I have it figured out for the most part. Although I'm still kind of having to slightly readjust here and there. I mean, like that Griffin, for example. I need to be prepared in the event that he doesn't do what I expect him to do. And not just freak out and be like, oh, what do I do? You know? But it still keeps my interest. But yeah, this'll be it for a bit. I'm not saying I'll never ever try to actually no-hit this, but for now I'm satisfied with just making this updated video with my new routing methods and all that stuff. Because, yeah, I'm not gonna have much free time anymore. And, I don't want to be grinding this every day until then either. Because I'm getting a little bit resentful toward the game now, and that's not good. That's telling me that I'm no longer enjoying it, I'm just forcing myself to do it out of sheer stubbornness. And so just memorializing these methods here is good enough for me. And I'm a bit bummed that I was secretly hoping that by me being more relaxed and trying to make it more of an explanation video than a no-hit video, that it would help me kind of stay calm and actually get the no-hit, but that damn Griffin. I'm almost wondering if it's just better to bait him into the air every single time. I think I may have to go for that. Because it's too much of a gamble it's been so far to, to try and speed up toward him. So I'll have to try that next time. Just, let him notice me and then wait for him to go into the sky. Or if he goes for the lightning attack too. Anything that leaves him vulnerable.
It worked! It worked!
And just throw blast you.
Rage! Tear the city stone from stone!
Shut up.
Sir Aldous beckons Arisen.
Hail, the Duke is like then.
I'm gonna keep the Duke on the Caaaawk split because he is a Caaaawk.
It's come.
Yeah, so the strategy for not getting hit here, guys, is you want to make sure you're in front of him at all times, you know? Just let him collide with your character. You get infinite iframes from the rest of the citizens and the nobility and everyone else, the staff, you know? Just make sure you're constantly in front of the Duke here and you won't get hit. Pro gamer strats right here. And then open the door so he doesn't take an eternity to open it for you. Do I want more throw blasts, yeah. Alright, I guess I'll update this because I am kind of getting ready for the Greatwall of Grigori. I just need to get a yellow poison sac to 3-star. Although honestly, if I'm quick enough with the throw blasts, I don't even need to silence him, but I don't want to risk that possibility. Oh lord, now I'm debating if I want to, because it can take a bit. Like, this section's always annoying. One, I have to deal with the RNG of the Saurians not even giving me what I need half the time. Oh, whatever, I'll still do it. Because that's all I need, is the one time, right? The one time I decide to not have a golden weapon that can silence is the time that I wanted it. Although honestly, it still comes in handy with the Gore Chimera. It is nice to just silence that thing, even though I could just stun it with throw blasts, but if I can silence it, it makes it a bit more manageable. So it's not like it's only for Grigori, it's just, you know, I originally wanted it for him because I need to be able to silence him so that he doesn't break my ballistas with his Holy Fervor attack. But I've been able to get his health down at least 2 3/4 health bar worth of damage. And when you're able to do that, he just instantly goes for his little perch on the mountain, and you don't even have to fight him on the ground. And then last time I was able to get him down to 3 health bars worth of damage. And then when I knocked him out of the sky with the ballista, I was able to finish him off before he even recovered. So that was cool. I'm hoping I can do that again here. Alright, leave it here so I don't have to run back again. These guys never give me what I want, so I'm just gonna casually come over here. I always get the poison sac from one of these over here, although even then these guys can be assholes with the RNG as well. Oh, you freaking tried it. I already got hit, dude, okay? You've got to be kidding me. Oh, I didn't even get new skills, or more skills. I should have gotten Tusk Toss. Oh well. This still works. Did you give me what I need? No, of course not. It really doesn't matter whether I cut the tail off first or not. You know, I've cut the tail off and I get it. I don't cut the tail off, I still get it. Oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. Oh yeah, you're in the water, so... You guys are being assholes today. Come on. Can you give me what I need? Do you see why I want to skip this part so badly? God, thank you. Jeez. I don't know. I think I read somewhere that, oh yeah, cutting the tail off gives you a higher chance. I'm like, well, if it is, it's not that much higher. It's really not. But sure, if it's a little higher, I'll take it. Because, geez, otherwise... And then I have to come all the way down here, duplicate it 2 separate times, because for some reason the dev team was like, oh no, they're gonna love forging stuff so much, they're gonna want to run down here and do it every time, one at a time. Right, it's just, it's gonna be so fun that they'll want to do it every single time. They won't want to forge in bulk, nah. Dogma 2, please let us forge in bulk. Please let us do a lot of things in bulk. Like, let us purchase in bulk, right? Not just either take one or all, right? Kind of like Dark Souls, where you can go up in multiples of 10. That would be nice.
Understood. I've come again.
Oh, I think I rested twice already. Like, yeah, let me still go to the left and then buy the maximum amount I can hold in storage or on my person. Like, I still like that.
I'm sure.
But I also want incremental
I'll craft. Oh no.
options as well.
Why not leave it with me a while? I'll craft you a. Oh no. I'm sure. Anytime.
Just small quality of life updates, that's all. Among other things, but eh. Oh well. We won't know until it comes out. And I'll get hyped for it when it comes out and I play it and I like it. Then I'll get hyped. Until then, I don't know. As fun as Elden Ring can be, it certainly didn't live up to its hype. It still has a lot of lazy designs in it, a lot of recycling. To the point where, yes, the world is enormous, but at what cost? At the cost of, you know, however many bosses they claim to have. It's like, they're not really bosses though. They're just recycled bullshit duo encounters, half of them. And then the other half is just enemies you've already seen. And so, as far as unique bosses go, those are really just the remembrances. And then a few bosses that don't have a remembrance. Although I don't know, I can't think of a boss that doesn't have a remembrance that isn't unique. I think all of the truly unique bosses have a remembrance to them. But anyway, point being, you know, they could have made the game even half of the size, and I would have been fine with it as long as everything was unique. Because honestly, once you get halfway into the game, it stops being unique. You just see retextures of the same enemies, or they just give the enemy one or two different attacks and that's it. But oh well. Yeah, may as well. Alright, so that's 3 stars. Their masterworks all. Okay. Oh, and then sell that, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna put the throw blasts away. For now.
What will it be today?
No, I want 100 exactly.
What will it be today?
I'll take the final Dreamwing.
What will it be? Have your pick. What will it be?
Hopefully I can learn Full Moon in time. I think I was able to.
What will it be today?
But okay, I still have... I'm gonna replace this with that for the Chimera.
What will it be? Have your pick. What will it... Understood.
Alright, I am good to go. Oh, I'm still gonna be light with the Port Crystal anyway, though. Oh well, doesn't really matter. Yeah. Okay, well, with all the mushrooms I'll be taking, I'm sure I'll be very light eventually. avoid those bandits over there, and then come down over here. And then just hug this edge over here.
We don't take kindly to trespass.
And there's a strider in the bushes. As long as I keep sprinting, she won't release. Like in this direction though, because obviously if I'm sprinting directly in front of her, she will. Alright, cool. And then for this part, I'm gonna hug the right side. And then put a port crystal down when I turn the corner, and then lift stone out of there. So that I can avoid... you're not... I don't want you getting in my way, actually. Hold on. Yeah, come over here a little bit more. Yeah, you're usually not this far ahead, but yeah. Alright.
These Malkin's claws bite.
Alright, put the port crystal down. Ooh. Yeah, just in time. You have just enough time to iframe through that. And then, when I reload into the area, I have a grace period before they fully aggro to me anyway.
Looking for trouble?
Yep, and then they just despawn. Yeah, otherwise it's a lot of stress trying to stay there. You know, like I have to throw blast the mage so that she doesn't hit me when she falls down. And then I have to wait for the boulders, and so I have to stay in a very narrow space, and then she almost always goes for that cloudburst, which you could still avoid while staying there, but it's a lot of things to keep track of, so you may as well just put the port crystal down and port out. Right. It gets to the point where, sure, you could try and be more daring, if that's what you want to call it, but you're just risking too much. And even in the Dark Souls no hits, like, people will bone out to reset an area if it's not configured properly or optimized in the way they need it to be. Alright, what spell are you going? Oh, of course you are. Always check. Oh good, I'm gonna be very light here with this invigoration. That's good. Yeah, I could have probably taken less mushrooms next time. Alright, just frigger. But it's fine, it worked out. And that was the challenge for me, was what can be consistent each time that doesn't rely too much on enemy behavior or misbehavior, right? That doesn't rely on this or doesn't rely on that. And I did put the port crystal down, yes, okay. Alright, time to get my throw blasts.
For now, if there is...
I'll just take all of them. I'm gonna need more anyway. I'm gonna have to go back to Castardus.
If there is... For now, my course is at prey.
And I have what I need. I'll stick with the Golden Bastard, may as well. It's powerful enough to knock down the cat anyway. And then I have a barbed nail, so yeah, I'm totally fine. Alright, hopefully the disencumbered invigoration will last long enough for this part, because sometimes the Harpy song can hit me at the last second, which kind of sucks. But this is really the best path I can find over here. And so hopefully a very light sprint is good enough. Okay, cool. Oh gosh, I don't have Tusk Toss. Oh my gosh, okay.
There's a passage here will take you there more quickly. I'll open it.
Alright, I'm actually gonna... Do I need Tusk Toss? I don't need it, but I want it. Alright, well they can't hit me through the wall, but still. I don't want to get too close either. I know there's more. No? Maybe they're just too far from the wall. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I could probably just skip them, honestly. If I just throw blast the cat, there's no way they can out-heal the damage I do. But if I can get rid of them, I may as well. Alright, well, since I don't have Full Moon Slash, may as well just speed this up. I already fought the kitty long enough in the prologue. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so this is all you do. Just jog or sprint perpendicular to the direction he's gonna go in. Yeah, as long as you sprint when you hear the Ingold to release, he won't clip you with it. Gosh, why do I miss that every time? Yeah, be careful with the lightning. Make sure they're not throwing it at you. Alright, more throw blasts! Alright, so now we're on the Dwagon. No? Why didn't it update? That's what I mean, that's why I like to check. Because I pushed it, but it didn't update. Okay. It's already 9:17. Oh yeah, it's been, well, I've been recording for almost 2 hours and 50 minutes. And then 2:31 for the actual gameplay. Okay. And then yeah, it is on the Dwagon. Ugh, that hit hurts. But oh well, honestly. I think it, like, I probably wouldn't have been satisfied even if I did take a no-hit on this, because it's been not like I have to be super formal with a no-hit, right? Like, I'm just not about that, but you know, it's been a bit sporadic. But so if I ever do get a no-hit for this melee fighter run, I would like it if it were just kind of more sequential, more planned, rather than me explaining it. So it's good that, like, I'm just doing the explanations here, and then if I ever do get the actual no-hit, I can just be like, here it is, with minimal breaks, unless I need to go to the bathroom again or something, right? And not spend 10 minutes just looking outside and watching the birds. You know, something like that. I'm just gonna get 100 more for the Everfall. And even then that might not be enough, but oh well. Alright, so I'm actually gonna get 70. That's probably way more than I need, but once again, I'd rather have more than less. Then I have 95 of those, 70 of those. I'm going to get 5 more mushrooms. Because it does matter. Not really, but it still doesn't matter.
As you will. As you will. What can I do?
I know I'm not the only one who's like this. I'm just, you know, admitting to it here. Okay. So, what do I have that I need? Well, I'll just keep this because I'll forget to get it when I'm ready for the Everfall, and this is nice to have for the undead there. And then this... I'll equip this, and then I'll switch to that for the Gore Chimera. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty... Oh, let me see if I can learn freaking Full Moon. That's right. And Tusk Toss. Or Antler Toss. I should be able to. I definitely want Full Moon just in case.
For now, my course, if there is...
Okay, thank you. And then I definitely should be able to get Antler Toss. Awesome. Alright, so now this is Full Moon. Don't get confused. That's Antler, and this is Hindsight.
If there is, then pray.
Okay, because I always get confused. I think I still have Burst Strike, and then I do a Full Moon, and I'm like, oops. And plus it's also nice for silencing the Gore Chimera too. Just make it quicker. So, what I'm gonna do, I'm going to sprint by the Geosaurians. I'm gonna wait for the first succubi to collide with the ladder. Then I'm gonna chuck a throw blast to kill her so that she's not a problem, because the one that tends to stay on the right side usually isn't an issue. Then I'm gonna run into the next section and attract the succubi one at a time and lead them back into the opening where I chill for the snow harpies in the prologue. Because even if they decide to sing while I'm in that hallway, because their song clips into the ceiling, it doesn't collide with my character unless it doesn't hit me. And so it's really good to lure them in there. And then you can chuck a throw blast through the wall to kill them that way. Alright, so I come here. And I'm gonna wait for this succubi. And then sprint and cancel the roll. Alright, so lure this one first. Yeah, and even if she went for a charge, you can out-sprint it. Well, as long as that Geosaurian doesn't come over here. Alright, and now for the Hellhounds. It's really funny. You can angle, you can set yourself up like this and just face forward. And the throw blast should hit. Yep. That one. And then let them notice you. Sprint back over here. And then jump throw the throw blast. Or miss, and then improvise. They won't come in here though. Yeah, I forget how quickly they sprint. And so you want to do it once they're up here. What happened to the other one? Wow, that's the second time, more than the second time. I don't know where that other one goes. He must clip into the map somehow. I think what happens, because when I was practicing this on my checkpoint saves, like they try to come up here, right? and the second one, or one of them, always ends up go missing, and I think what happens is he clips himself through the map when trying to come up here. But either way, I don't care. As long as he doesn't come after me, I'm fine. Yeah, because I used to sprint through here and that was not working at all, so yeah, because of the spiders I can't. Alright, now I'm ready to do this. Oof. Yeah, don't do that. Here, let me just see how long it would take with this weapon, just for shits and giggles. Oh, way too long. Oh, that's right. I guess I could try luring him onto the weights, but I don't want to get distracted by that. Alright, I still have 49. That should be plenty. It's not like Grigori takes a bunch of throw blasts either. I mean, the most throw blasts I use against him is just when I'm hitting him in the face. In order to lower his health bar to at least 2 3/4 worth of damage. Or I guess 2 1/4. But I'm gonna aim for doing the same 3 health bars worth of damage like last time. That was really good. That was what allowed me to, well, no. What really allowed me to do it is I just spam through the throw blasts the moment I got close to his chest. But still, the more you can shave off, the better. I may as well switch back to this. And so when he roars here, I would say you do have to jump it, because it is a stagger from an enemy, so you want to make sure you jump it. You know, it's a stagger, technically. It is. And staggers are hits. Man, don't get greedy. Wow, he didn't take as much damage this time around. I wonder if the jumping really does make the difference then. And then just come over here. And then come to his tail so you can bait the tail whip. And then sprint over here and just hit his face. Sometimes he doesn't stagger though.
Still my heart and lay open the path.
It may take 2 hits then.
This is not fate.
And then make sure you're not near his feet, because then they stagger you. Alright, well, almost 3 health bars worth of damage.
Now, come, Arisen.
I think next time I'll have to be in front of him. It's almost like the side of his face doesn't take as much damage, but it's fine. I mean, I'm basically at 3 health bars, so that's perfectly fine. As long as it's at least 2 1/4 worth, like 2 1/4 bars worth of health damage, he will go on his little perch once we get into the arena. And it's pretty easy to avoid these. I don't even know if they can stagger me from that distance, but I still jump them just in case. And then I wait here, and then keep sprinting.
Heed well this place, Arisen. Know the frailty of the works of man. This hold once stood proud and firm. 'Twas the foolish decision of a man too weak that brought it down. Cling to life. Pitiful wingless human, return to the earth.
Now here, there's no way to avoid getting staggered when he tries to shake you off. It's just part of the script, so these don't count. They're scripted staggers, if you will. Just like there's scripted deaths, you know, in the Dark Souls games. I should probably stop referring to Dark Souls, even though I did use them as a template for making my no-hit rules. At the end of the game, they're still different game. At the end of the game. At the end of the day, they're still different games. If anything, there's a lot more things in this game that would count as a hit, really. I still haven't seen any no-hits for Elden Ring, though. I probably should, just to see how they are, because I knew the first time I got hit by those fucking dragonflies, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a no-hitter's nightmare, probably. I mean, you can still, you know, sprint by them, right? But still, you know, you're just there enjoying the view, and then all of a sudden this freaking dragonfly just and then hits you. Oh my gosh. I hate the dragonflies in that game so much. The fastest way into my hate list, they did. I was enjoying a sunset, you know, and then boom, got hit. Alright, so since he took enough damage, I'm just gonna book it behind me to the ballistas.
Give your all here and now. Such is the contest you have chosen. Have you come so far to be stricken with cowardice, Arisen? You have chosen your path. There is naught beyond this moment, for though this battle you have begun sits at the very heart of all creation.
Oh, it actually took me out of the ballista.
We are the axis about which the world turns, Arisen. Time itself flows with your footsteps.
You know, just hit the heart a few times.
Raise your weapon, your teeth of steel, your blood-red voice.
Just because I felt like it.
Arisen, prove yourself worthy of what lies beyond my corpse. Show that you possess the strength to still my heart, the will to do it, the soul.
And then we just... okay, he's not done.
With me, death itself. Stay the fires of destruction.
Are you done? Okay. Yeah, so now we just have to wait for him to stop flying around. Oh, there we go. Look at that. I'm not gonna make it in time. Oh my gosh, I did it again.
Come, Arisen. If you are truly awakened unto the world, you shall weather the fires of perdition unscathed. Surpass me if you would truly be the one to take up the endless chain.
You see, if I hadn't gone for my golden bastard, yeah, I don't know, I guess the timing worked out very well last time when I did it. I probably should also bring a liquid vim just so that I don't have to spam take the mushrooms. So, the reason why I want to silence him is because he'll go for his spells when I'm on an elevated platform. I could have gone over there, but I just come over here.
I remember now.
Just because, I don't know, I like it over here. But you could go over there if you wanted to. As long as you're on an elevated platform. Because he always goes for one spell and then his Holy Furor, but since he's silenced he can't do it, and so when he's like, oh, that didn't work, he goes back to being airborne. Oh, shit. Alright, and now I'll be able to finish him off. Alright, cool. So, I don't really need to silence anything anymore, so I'll just get a stronger Eden's Warden for the undead and the Chamber of Resolution. But yeah, I'm so glad, so it is worth doing. Yeah, I can't rely. I mean, you could probably angle it so that you could kill him right away, but just in case they miss, right? You have insurance with the Golden Bastard. And even then, I still think that maybe you could get away with it without silencing him, but that Holy Furor has such a wide range to it that unless you have another Dreamwing Nostrum and are on the very light category so that you can be ultra light, it's very difficult to sprint out of that once it begins to populate in your area. And so I'd rather not risk it. Okay, and so that's done. I'll put that away, and then you can go away, you too. Golden, yeah, you too. I'll keep that for the undead.
As you will.
I really don't need that many mushrooms anymore, actually. I don't need any mushrooms, period. I don't sprint in the Chamber of Resolution. I learned my lesson. No, I can't. I'll get 80. So what I need 56. Yeah.
As you will. What can I do?
And then it did update, right? Okay, Wakey Wakey. So the evil eye was an issue for a long ass time because anytime he would go for his grab, I would try to sprint around it or jog around it, and sometimes that would work in avoiding it, but most of the time he would get me. And then I would try to keep distance, but then it just took way too fucking long to kill him because he's constantly spamming spells that I have to sprint away from, and I can only kill one tentacle at a time. So now, if he goes for his grab, which when I was doing it, he was pretty consistent about doing it if I through blast the first tentacle and then moved to my right, he seemed to always teleport toward me, and when he's teleporting, I prepare a throw blast, and then I create some distance, and then when I see that he's coming toward me, I chuck it at him. And it staggers him out of the grab, and then I just keep chucking the throw blasts and finish him off that way. And so I'm hoping it works the way I expect it to this time around. And then I did upgrade this to 2-star, yeah, okay. Oh, and the reason why I named this split Wakey Wakey is because of all the wake stones I have to get. That's it. And then the Seneschal is included. This is basically just the final stretch, so all of these final sections are included. Alright, I want to be prepared to sprint to my left the moment this ends. Ugh. Yeah, because those guys are ready to hit you the moment that cutscene ends. My poor thumbstick, I've just been smashing it because of all the sprinting I've had to do.
I knew you for a villain. I've suffered your avarice and deceptions out of deference to the office of Arisen. But you have shown your true colors, sir. You are a traitor to the Duke and to us all. Put this rogue to chains, men. His grace commands the Arisen's capture, dead or alive.
Alright, well I'm just gonna pick whichever one. I usually try to go to the Chamber of Resolutions section, but eh. I want to see how much discipline I have, because from here on out I'm just going to be going to the Chamber of Resolution and killing the cockatrice and then the ogres, just baiting their drop kick so I can deflect them onto their backs. And then I want to see if I have enough, whoops, I wanted to take the mushrooms instead. And then I want to, well here I can check right now. Oh yeah. I think prescience is available. So like if you're not completely comfortable deflecting with the normal deflect frames, you could get that augment. Yeah. Yeah, he was a little closer that time. Yeah, I need to make sure all the tentacles get blasted off and then boom. May as well just finish you off this way. Ugh, I can't tell you how wonderful that feels. He used to be such an issue. And it's kind of silly now, I'm like, just chuck a throw blast. But hello, c'est la vie. I've lived and I've learned. Oh, that sucks how the Griffin hit me, but you know, I think it's okay. I really just wanted this to be an instructional video. Just in case this happened, and yeah. I wanted, like, updated checkpoints for my methods. Alright, well 80... Here, let me see. What would be available for purchase right now if I wanted more stuff? Not much. Yeah, I think it's pronounced prescience. Yeah, so this would extend your deflect frames for the ogres if you're not comfortable with the standard ones. I'll actually go ahead and do it. I mean, honestly, I'm comfortable with the normal frames, but hey. Anything that helps, you may as well, right? So I'll put that on.
What will it be? Have your pick. What will it? Understood.
And then I'm light. Okay. Now it's just... I think I usually can visit the Chamber of Resolution 3 times. And I get enough wake stones. Sometimes 4. Just depends on how much the enemies in the main room give me or not. And then once the ogres get knocked down, I just chuck throw blasts at their head, you know, just to speed it up. Alright, so the chamber... Oh, I actually have to fall down again. That's weird. Normally the Chamber of Lament is at 6 o'clock when I fall down this way. Alright, let me see if it happens again. Oh, I guess not. It's more at 5 or 4 o'clock. Okay, well it's gonna be this one? I don't know, you just kind of memorize where it is at some point. Do not sprint in here. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just jog. You have plenty of time. Like, you can jog in the hall, you can sprint in the hallway, but do not sprint into the main room here until you see that they've loaded in. And that's why. Because they spawn in at different points every time. And if you're sprinting and they spawn in front of you and they flail their arms, it's gonna hit you. Alright. Keep like mid-distance so he goes for the breath. If you're too close to him, he'll try to attack you, so just keep mid-distance. Yeah, you usually only drop 2 wake stones. Sometimes 3? I feel like one time you dropped 3, but it's usually 2. Yeah, I try to be careful with these guys, because if they release that poison mist, then it, you know, it collides with your character and that's a hit too. And then they're kind of worth killing. They can drop a Wakestone shard sometimes. Not very frequent, but worth... Oh, look at that. And then looting the chests too. Now here, I'm going to get rid of the barrels, because if the ogre activates them and it staggers me, that I count that as a hit. Sure, why not? Oh, this one was cheap. Any Wakestone shards? No? Come on. Actually. Ooh. Okay, I think that's all I saw. And then here too, just wait for the enemies to spawn in. There we go. That's it. Okay. Kind of cheap, but oh well. Usually 6 or 7 per round. And then I just rest for 5 days. I think you can do 4, maybe even 3, but actually I'll just do 4.
What will it be today?
Yeah, I'll just carry as many as I can.
What will it be? Understood.
Alright, so 1.
If they have your pig, what will it? Understood. If they have your pig, what will it? Understood. If they have your pig, what will it? Understood.
Yeah. This is kind of the monotonous, well, one of many monotonous parts of the whole run, but oh well. It's a lot of errands. And so I understand if no-hitting this game isn't very appealing to a lot. It's barely appealing to me. I just have a personal affinity. Again, I think I mentioned this earlier in the video. That, you know, I'm like, oh wow, I actually not only made a bunch of new observations that refresh the game to me, but I'm actually attempting a no-hit, something I thought I'd never do. And even though I don't know if I'll ever actually get a genuine 0-hit, it's nice to know that I've come this far with it, so it's cool. Alright, sprint through here, then wait. And then sprint through here. Wait. Okay. Okay, the Saurians are in here this time. That's fine. Ooh, you guys are closer than usual. That's fine. They typically don't aggro. That's the good thing, at least they mind their own business. Okay. But thank you for that. Another Wakestone shard. I should probably be trying to get the other chests too, not just these two. Gonna get rid of this group over here while I can. I don't know why sometimes she'll stay on the ground longer. Oh my gosh, that one kind of lingered. Well, I got 2 wake stones from you, that's good. Oh, not this again. Come on, stop wasting my time. Alright, no, go back down. Really? Just 1 wake stone, not even another shard? Cheap. A giant coin gold pouch for that kind of a chest. Should have been a wake stone. Oh dear. I love when the coin bags just fly out of enemies like that. It's very funny. Really? That's it, huh? This room was pretty cheap this time around. Well, 7. Actually, never mind. It felt cheap. That's weird, but okay. Yeah, usually 6 or 7. And then the 7 probably because I already had 2 Wakestone shards coming in from last time.
What will it be? What will it be?
Alright, how many more? Ooh, nice.
Have your pick. What will it? Understood.
Yeah, it's very rare if I need to go down there more than 3 times.
If have your pick. What will it? Understood. If have your pick. What will it? Understood. If have your pick. What will it? Understood.
Yeah, once I have 4 wake stones, I'll just bamf out of there. So, really, I think just killing 1 more ogre, like killing the cockatrice and then 1 more ogre should do it. No need to kill the rest of the room. Oh cool, no saurians. There we go. Alright, just killing you should do it. Alright, let's just make distance so you chase after me, yeah? Oh, you better not. Yeah. Okay. I'm not gonna do that too early then. Fortunately, she broke out of it, but that instant reset counter she does? That he does, that they do, that it does, whatever. I'm reminded of one time someone was confused at me referring to older ogre as her. I'm like, it's not that deep. Just pick a random pronoun. It's a video game. Wow, that ogre was, ooh, was cheap. Oh look, I fully ranked up with the one that gave me the last wake stones I needed. Alright, well, running errands is done here. I still need to be careful with the Seneschal though, and with the freaking, you know, with the NPCs leading up to him too. because the perspective is very weird. And so I think they're gonna hit me later than they do. Like, they appear further than they are, and that really trips me up.
What will it be today? What will it be today?
Alright, I don't need that many throw blasts, but whatever. Here, I'll get rid of 17. Because I still want some for the lead up.
What will it be? Have your pick. What will it? Understood.
Alright, get you back so you can level up a bit. And let's see how this plays out. It's different every single time. It's just different. I mean, I'll just have to see how it plays out. So the Seneschal is a bit of a threat. Once his pawn joins him. Or even on his own, but you know, on his own it's a bit more manageable. Alright, cool. I'm very light.
Yes, fight Arisen. As you e'er have.
Alright, I usually wait to see if he goes for another one, but it seems okay.
What is it that impels you? What force
And then
spurs
just
you on?
sprint in the opposite direction.
What sustained your wanderings and led you here?
That way you don't have to listen to him monologue all the time.
What is it that... Let us continue, Arisen. Show that you are more than an empty vessel, animated by forces unseen. Show that the temper of your soul is strong enough to command far more than mere pawns. Tis a simple choice, Arisen. Step forward or retreat. Accept the quiet emptiness of a false peace, a false life.
Why not put an end to it? That's a mite harsh. Ever the noble one, you.
Seriously? How did that not hit you too? Did he just shrug his shoulders like, well, he's dead? That's what I mean, like the perspective is so weird in here.
Why? What is it drives you so?
My! Tis too great an honor for one of my stature.
What? This is your answer, then.
I would instantly.
I never thought I would use throw blasts in this section, but yeah. I underestimated them before and I regretted it. I mean, I could probably be fine with just full moon, but nah. You know, may as well use the throw blast. My gosh, I have never been paranoid about this section, but then if I'm too willy-nilly about it, they hit me because, I don't know, there's something about the perspective change that just messes with me. Alright, here I go. Oh, that was a good shot, damn.
Temper your soul in its heat.
Wow, that was a really good shot.
The forge of my heart grows cold. World shivers for it.
Grab him. Wow, that was clean.
World is merciless.
Holy shit.
Cold and empty for
That throw blast was like perfectly thrown.
new craft. If there, why
Oh,
not? As you
hold on.
would until
Okay, okay.
new craft. If there is
Alright, it's not official until I Godsbane. Now you have to do this, so I'll explain later. Hold on. Complete. And with one hit, nice. Again, doesn't seem like much as a viewer, but for me, it's an accomplishment. Like, holy shit, it's taken me so long to get consistency with everything from start to finish here. So even though the stupid Griffin hit me, I'm glad. Like, now I have a PB of 1 from 6 to 1. That's really nice. Alright, and that's it for the base game. I don't think I'd ever cared to do base game plus DLC, start to finish. That just seems like a lot. I won't say never, but I just don't see myself. I can barely tolerate the base game. I don't know how. Maybe I would do, like, I would just start from New Game Plus and then go into BBI, like with the stats and the equipment that I got from the previous, and see how that goes, but I'm satisfied with this for now, honestly. So, with the Godsbane, it wouldn't count as a hit because you're the one doing it, and so, you know, it's not from a hostile source. Unless you hate yourself enough, but, you know, that's a separate discussion. So, in a no-hit, a Godsbane wouldn't count. So if you want to farm chests using it, that would be fine. But in a no damage, I'm a bit gray in that area because from the templates I see from other no damages, it's any reduction of your health, regardless of the source, right? So fall damage is, you know, obviously you take damage. If there's poison or other ailments that reduce your health in a no damage, then that counts as a hit for damage, right? And so for the Godsbane, it does set your health to 0, so unless you have to have your health reduced to 0, like in this cutscene, right, you cannot go into New Game Plus until you wield the Godsbane, and set your health to 0. And so that would be the only truly permissible time to use it in a no damage. But in a no hit, I would say go ahead and use it if you want to farm a chest and just make it quicker, because that's the closest thing to a quick load as we have. But in a no damage, you'd have to deal with using the menus if you want to farm chests. So up to you, right? And so in a no damage, I'd be like, yeah, no, technically it counts, so you can't use Godsbaning outside of the one time where it's required in order to progress into New Game Plus. And yep, that's about it. So I'm pretty satisfied. I'm pretty satisfied with how everything turned out. Despite the simplicity it may seem, it took a long time for me to not only come up with something that had the greatest consistency, especially with the harpies, but also just being able to execute it and only have one hit in the entire process. So that's really cool. But yeah, any other details I forget to mention in the video, I'll put in the description, and maybe if I'm up for it, I'll try Strider, but that one would take a lot longer, because in that one I would want to power level to have more stamina to utilize more of the weapon skills. But I'll see. I'm glad that I can sort of highlight my updated methods here. And yeah, if anyone else wants to give it a go, if they don't think it would be absolutely cumbersome and eye scratching, then yeah, go ahead. I don't know. Part of me really does want to just get a 0 hit for this, but I'm already feeling that I'm fine just having it at a PB of 1, even though this video was more to be instructional than anything. But yeah, anyway, ta-ta.